Hey guys, Adam Lobo here from Adam Lobo TV, and in this video, I'll be giving you an in-depth review of the Redmi 10 after using it for more than a week. And I'll also answer all of your comments that you have asked me in my first impressions video throughout this video and also at the end of this video as well to help you make a purchase decision, so keep watching. Now, since I've done the unboxing in my first impressions video, here's a quick recap of the specs. The Redmi 10 comes with a MediaTek G88 chipset with the Mali G52 MC2 GPU, and the variant that I have is the 4GB of RAM with 64GB of storage. And as of the recording of this video, it has the MIUI 12.5.4 skin on top of Android 11. Now, looking at the phone's design and build, as mentioned in the previous video, that this really reminded me of the Poco F3's Arctic white finish because it did feel very identical when I was using it daily. Now, the side silver matte finish and the texture of the back part of the phone felt as though it was like a higher flagship level. And no, I'm not exaggerating because I just couldn't believe that this phone, especially with this kind of build quality, is priced within the 600 ringgit range. Because the overall sleek and lightweight form factor were indeed an A+, and I absolutely have no complaints at all. Now, looking at the display, the phone has a 6.5-inch IPS LCD dot display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels. Now, while the screen is not as bright as a typical higher level mid-range phone, but the good news is that it was very visible during daylight. Now, the 90Hz screen was also quite a surprise too. But I would like to take a moment to talk about this 90Hz display though, because for me, sometimes I did not feel like the screen was at 90Hz. Especially when I was scrolling from left to right, where scrolling up and down was better. Now, this could be probably due to the adaptive sync technology, where it will adjust between 45, 60 and 90 Hz, which does correlate to a better battery life, but more on that later. So yeah, while the phone does have a 90 Hz refresh rate, but based on me using it daily, there were times where it did not feel like it was 90 Hz, but based on my UFO test, it seems alright, so that could just be me. Now, during my first impressions, I did find that the camera hole punch to be a bit bigger for my liking, but it eventually became something that I got used to because watching videos on the phone was really nice too, especially on Netflix since it has Widevine L1 certified, which is a really pleasant thing to have on a smartphone within this range. So how do I rate the display on this phone? I would give this a B+, where the experience were pretty decent indeed. Now, in terms of the cameras, the main rear camera is a massive 50 megapixel f1.8 aperture and 8 megapixel f2.2 16mm ultra wide angle lens, a 2 megapixel f2.4 macro lens and a 2 megapixel f2.4 depth sensor. Then looking at the front camera, it comes with an 8 megapixel f2.0 aperture camera. Now, starting from the high megapixel mode, the image quality was great and the amount of detail is almost at a flagship level. But compared to a flagship, at least this Redmi 10 has an expandable storage up to 512 GB, so that was nice. Next, looking at the ultra wide angle shots, here's where I prefer all of the shots taken with the AI mode turned off, as the images seems to be more blue when it's turned on, but the overall dynamic range was really great over here. Then as for the main lenses, the shots without the AI mode was way more favorable to me since the shots look more natural as mentioned earlier. Then the rear camera portrait mode was also really great, where the results for pictures both on humans and objects had a very good dynamic range and a very great subject to background blur. Now, as for the macro mode, I was pleasantly surprised with the shots as I could get an easier focus on the shots, and it's definitely one of the better macro mode cameras compared to some recent smartphones that I've tried, which cost way much more than the Redmi 10. Then as for the night mode shots, I actually kinda like the shots produced, where some smartphones tends to overexpose the highlights and bring up the shadows like crazy, but I kinda like how the night mode looks very natural as how it was. Then another huge surprise was the performance of the front camera, as one would think that photos taken over here would be horrible since it comes with a lower 8 megapixels. But as you guys can see over here, the images look really good, even better than the recently reviewed Poco X3 GT. The portrait selfie also looked really nice with great skin tones, nice dynamic range at the background blurred area with almost flagship level edge detection. So there's your AI camera test Mohil Elite, which I prefer not to turn the AI mode on, and the camera test Irfan the 69 and Mr. Blacken. Then as for video, the rear camera maxes out at 1080p 30 frames per second, so was the front camera, and while the video quality was great, but the image stabilization wasn't at its best, as you guys can see. So I would rate the camera photos about B+, and the videos probably at C+, because of the lack of image stabilization on the videos. And there's your answer, Vijay Kumar. Now as for the phone speakers, another great thing is the fact that the phone has stereo speakers. And also another interesting surprise was how loud the speakers could get at a massive 94 dB with no distortion at its maximum volume level. The mids were also pretty well pronounced with great vocal clarity with decent highs and lows. And here is a quick sound test. So there's your audio speaker test, unknown. Alright guys, hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. If you are, a nice big thumbs up would be very much appreciated, and a subscription on Adam Lobo TV would be lovely, just in case you guys haven't done so. Now, in terms of the software, when I first unboxed the phone, it came shipped with MIUI version 12.5.1, and as of the recording of this video, it was updated to the latest 12.5.4 instead, where I did see a minor performance upgrade. And considering the fact that this phone has only 4GB of RAM, it did handle multitasking and opening a bunch of apps quite well, with probably just an occasional browser stutter, especially for loading higher graphical websites. So if you're using the phone daily, try to have the habit of closing the apps after you use it, especially after gameplay. But other than that, using the phone daily was totally fine. However, although I did not get to compare and use the 6GB variant of this smartphone, I would still recommend for y'all to get the 6GB variant instead, just for the sake of getting that peace of mind. And of course, the best out of this smartphone, although it costs just 100 ringgit more. Then as for the phone's battery, it comes with 5000 milliamps of battery, and the biggest question is how does the phone perform since it has the combination of the adaptive sync display technology and this 5000 milliamps of battery? Well, based on my test, I was very impressed with the overall battery life, as I could get up to a massive 10 hours and 50 minutes and even sometimes up to 11 hours of screen on time with that adaptive 90Hz refresh rate when I was at 10% battery with quite a heavy usage, which was really nice to know. And the phone has fast charging up to 18 watts, where the box comes with a 22.5 watt charger instead. And what's still interesting is the fact that the phone also has 9 watts of reverse wired charging. So there's your battery life test, Sonu Baba. Now as for gaming, since the phone is not so much of a powerhouse for gaming, I performed 2 gaming tests. One is with Asphalt 9, where the gameplay was really nice and smooth at default settings. Then on PUBG Mobile, the settings were maximized at graphics set to HD and frame rate set to high, where the overall gameplay was nice and smooth, with a tiny warmth towards the top part of the phone during a very long gameplay. And there's your PUBG Mobile settings test, Poison God, and the overall gaming test, Shaheen and Fabian Shandy. Now in conclusion, I have to say that the Redmi 10 seems to be the smartphone that does indeed check the right boxes to perform way more than what you pay for, coming with a price of only 649 ringgit for the 4GB of RAM with 64GB of storage and 749 ringgit for the 6GB of RAM with 128GB of storage variant. I don't see a reason why you would not get this phone if your budget is within this price range. And I'll leave a link down below for you guys to get yourself one, because my biggest takeaway on this phone is the amazing design and build quality, a massive battery life, and a very good photography camera smartphone. So if those are your priorities among others, then yes, you should totally get this Redmi 10. Alright, let's end the video with some of the other questions asked by y'all as well. First, Cartival asks, what is the storage type, UFS or eMMC? The answer is eMMC version 5.1. Nick Bibe asks, does the Xiaomi Redmi 10 support NFC? Nope. Valerie Well asks, please, is there a notification diode? The answer is no. Why Amna asks, is there a shadow around the hole punch? It is actually not a shadow, but more like a black circle. When I compare this to a typical flagship phone, yes, there was no black circle around it, so I don't know whether you call this a shadow, but yes, it is there. And there were a bunch of questions coming from my fellow friends from India and Bangladesh on what is the price of the Redmi 10. Now, since the phone is not officially released yet in your countries, I can't give you the definite answer on that. But as soon as I know, I'll put down the price at the pinned comment below and also at the description below. Then Muhammad Fahmi asks or says, cakaplah bahasa Melayu. Bro, gua punya English bukanlah powderful gila. Dah lah tahun 2021 sampai sekarang tak faham basic bahasa English ke bro? Bacalah surat khabar. Oh, artikel-artikel ke? ABC ke? Then the final question comes from Naughty Queen. Does it have 120 frames per second slow motion in the front camera? No. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and help you make your purchase decision. My name is Adam Lobo and I'll catch you guys in my next video.